All right, beautiful people. Hi. It's been too long. The last call of our free Soaring Beyond Definition calls was in June, I believe. And how many times has the world changed and flipped around and got shooken up and then thrown and explosions and since June. So, and some of us, that's actually like our own lives, not just the world, like beyond our little microcosm. That's what's happened. It's been shooken up. There's been explosions. There's been upside down and then up and then right side up again. And wow. So thank you for being here. Thank you for making the time. Thank you to everyone who sent in questions. Thank you for everyone who's contributing their energy to creating something different, something greater together today. Because wow, I don't know about y'all, but I am so asking for that, requiring that, especially my body. Man, has it been rough on our bodies. Oh, our poor bodies. Just give your bodies a little hug and squeeze real quick if you haven't already done so today. Oh my goodness. So hi to all the bodies. We're going to be talking to your bodies today too, because that's one of my favorite things to do. Because sometimes our bodies will tell us things that maybe all this head stuff, this like will get in the way, that might actually create something greater and with more ease. So for those of you that are just getting to know me and they don't know about my weird, crazy, irreverent ways, hi, I'm Siris Raquel Rivas-Verdejo, and I am saying hi to you from Savannah, Georgia, which is right by Florida in the United States. I consider myself a global citizen, and I am very fortunate to have this global business, which allows me to connect with all of you beautiful people around the world. We have people who have registered today from Martinique, from Switzerland, from Italy, from all parts of the United States, Australia, New Zealand, gosh, I'm forgetting some, Romania, I'm trying to think of what all the ones I saw just for today. And that's not all of the countries that are in our Soaring Beyond Definition groups and all of our offshoot groups, like Severin's group is for Francophones. If you don't know all of her groups yet, please connect with her. And she doesn't just support me and my business, but a whole bunch of other amazing people around the world who are awesome. So please do that. Please check it out. Loredana is here interpreting for our Italian speaking people, and she also has a great group. And so if you don't know about her group, please connect with her and her group. And she also works with a lot of different coaches and facilitators and inspirational speakers around the world. So these are beautiful connectors of magnitude. And if you haven't already done so, please tell them thank you for inviting you to here. If they invited you, whichever way you found me and you're here today, so grateful for you to be here. We have a couple of announcements before we get started, and then I'm going to address all of the questions that were sent in. And the energy of these questions, the energy of this call has been, wow, for at least 2 weeks. At least 2 weeks. My body has just been buzzing with all of this. So now, we have questions from all walks of life. We have questions about business. We have questions about money. We have questions about children and communication. Okay, so if you're interested in any of that, stick around or check it out in the replay. If you have to leave at some point, it's a revolving door kind of day. And we also, I think we have the date for our next one for our winter call. And I'm going to have to check on that because that's one thing I didn't put in my notes. So if one of my team members can look that up for me and pop that in, great. If not, I will find that, and it'll definitely be in the replay email for you all. Okay, so check out the replay email. So some announcements. If only I could. There we go. So many windows, so little time. So it's been Suicide Awareness Month, and in the month of September, and for September and October both, I am offering donation-based 20-minute sample sessions Limit one per person. Even if you've had one before, last year we did this. If you've had one before, you can have one again. This year is a new year. It's a whole new bag. It's a whole new thing, but it is one sample session per person. And it's whatever you feel it's valuable to you, whatever way you can send. This also makes it very available to some of us who are in countries that cannot use PayPal or cannot use those payment systems that I have available in the United States. I still want to contribute to those countries. I still love connecting with those countries. And so that's one way for us to do that. And then we also have discounted $50 full sessions, a full hour. There's no limit to how many of those sessions you can purchase as long as you purchase them by October 31st. And so those are full sessions of the living and dying body process. It's the body process I created. And it is phenomenal. We're going to play with some of the energies of it today because a lot of your questions have to do with living and dying, have to do with being more awakened and alert and present with your body. I'm going to put the link in the chat for where you can find more information about this body process. And those pages are translated in Italian and in French and in Spanish. So you should be able to also grab the tasters that we've done, where it's 3 different parts. And we've actually demonstrated some of the hand movements. You can start playing with this energy yourself if you haven't already done so. And then you can also check out all the information there about the events we have around those tools. Some of which, the next one that's coming up is November 2nd. Mark your calendars. For those of you that are entrepreneurs that would like to just do business your way, including the business of living. November 2nd, we have Are You Living or Dying with Business? Okay, and the link to that, we're going to have, I'm putting that in the chat. There's a Facebook page and there's also the direct registration link right here. As of right now, we are not planning on providing Italian and French translation. The translators are, and they're amazing for this. If there's enough interest, and there's got to be a lot of interest, y'all, they're willing to rally and translate for y'all. But as of right now, it is English only. But bring it, get your friends, get your members of your business networking groups, let them know about it if you want it, and we'll make it work. And if it's not enough initially, then we can maybe offer it as a replay translated. So either way, there's still a way for you to get the information. We're going to be providing a ton of tools in there, including a lot of the elements of living that can contribute to your business. Okay. We've been talking about the elements of living in the Soaring Beyond Definition group. Great discussions around them. We've been talking about dreamland and whistleblowers and gosh, there's so many. I'm blanking now. It's just like, because now that I mentioned them and they're all here. Oh, you rang, madam. So these are these elements, these energies that are in all of us, that for many of us, we've shut down and we've ignored. And if we're willing to actually be aware of them and activate them, awaken them even more, can provide us with a lot more clarity, a lot more ease about the things that we'd like to have as a part of our life, so we can have more exuberant and joyful living. So if you're interested in the business, if this appeals to you at all, please come to the November 2nd event. We also have our awakening class, which is where people get to learn the living and dying body process, and we get to give and receive sessions. And for the first time ever, we're super excited about this. Our crew has been asking for this for a very long time. We are allowing people who don't have a partner to participate in the class. They still get the manual, they still get the certification, all these different things. They just don't have the prerequisite to then potentially teach the class and facilitate it in the future. But we want this to be as available to as many people as possible. And we've changed enough in the world and in bodies with the last classes that now it's a yes when we ask, hey, is it okay, please, for people to be able to join this class and connect online, even if they don't have someone else in the same physical space as them? Is that okay? And finally, the body process and the world is saying yes. And so we're making that happen. I'm very excited about it. And if you do have a partner in the same physical space as you, then you not only get to participate in the class and get to have someone to swap with, but you also have one of the prereqs to potentially teach the class in the future. And it is a certification class. So really excited about that. This is historical for us and for our crew. And so we're very excited about it. One caveat to that is no matter if it's a singular person or pairs, the class is capped at 20 participants. So if you would like to put a deposit to hold your spot in the class, or if you want to just go ahead and pay and fully register, please do so. And only the people who have either paid a deposit or who have paid fully will be guaranteed a spot in one of those 20 spots for the class. Let me know if you have any questions about any of this. Further announcements. So back by popular demand, super excited. The Money Your Way group is back. We did this group starting, gosh, I think it was the end of 2019 into 2020. And we chose to pause it because there was so much of a freak out in the world and an upheaval in a lot of people's finances that we chose to pause it for a little bit. And now everyone's been asking for it to come back. They really appreciated the tools that we provided in that group. We're making it available to people who are requesting it. We're doing a pre-registration first to see how many people are interested and to create the schedule. So we're actually doing it a little bit differently based on what's been working beautifully with the Expansive Energies groups and the virtual writing retreat group. We aren't just saying, here's the schedule. We're saying, hey, what would you like the schedule to be? So you get to express your interest in the group. And you get to say, hey, I'm free on these days. This is my time zone. This is the language I would like. And then we get to create the schedule based on people's availability, the people who are truly interested in these tools. And then we go from there. And so I'm providing you the link. We're going to start the week of October 17th. So you know what week we're starting. We meet 2 times a month for 30 minutes, full of tools. We have a private group. We have a bunch of other things. Read it at your leisure. But if you register and express your interest, pre-register. This isn't even payment, just a pre-registration to let us know, hey, I'm interested. You get to have a free month of tools from our last series of calls. So you get to play around with that, see what that creates, get to see what, if you'd like to continue on and actually pay. And you actually get a 15-minute consultation with me, a money flow analysis. And maybe some of you just want the analysis and the consultation and not be a part of the group. Hey, it's your call. But the only way I'm going to know that is if you fill out the form of interest that is in the link that I've just put in the chat. It's empoweringlightlanguage.com, my website /money. And we will be charging, as soon as you do choose it, $38 a month. I mean, super easy, really affordable. And yet you get all these tools to actually have your financial reality and add to your current money flows and add new revenue streams. That is the idea. So we're going to acknowledge where you're already making money, and we're going to actually add more flows into it. And you can see the testimonials on the page as well of what people have said from the past series. Amazing stuff. And I'm very curious to see what shows up this time. So I'm very excited about that. Last but not least, one of the crew members asked, hey, so you already sent out the email saying if you're in the Expansive Energies group, which is a group where we meet twice a month, and in group sessions, we get different energetic tools, we get different coaching, you get clearings. So we go from Tantra to shamanism to the living and dying body process. You get to play with all these different tools. I can't say enough of how this explodes people's worlds and increases their receiving. I sent out an email saying, hey, well, if you want to do that, plus the virtual writing retreat, you get a 15% discount. Well, they were like, are you going to honor that with the Money Your Way group? If we do the Expansive Energies group and the Money Your Way group, or the virtual writing retreat and the Money Your Way group, are you going to give us a discount? And I was like, well, yes. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just go. Let's do it. Let's make it as easy as possible for people. So it'll be $68 with the 15% discount if you do 2 of the groups. If you do all 3 groups, Money Your Way, Expansive Energies group, and virtual writing retreat, you get a 20% discount. So you get even more discount. You get to have even more tools, more receiving, accountability. And I'm going to put that information here. So 2 groups, this is all in USD, okay, just so you know. Then it's the 15% discount, and 3 groups is 20% discount. If you can't find any of these links, these will all be in the replay email, but I wanted to put it here for you, easy peasy for those of you that are here on live, so you can jump on it, because all these groups are capped at 10 people, except for the Money Your Way group. The Expansive Energies group and the Virtual Writing Retreat are max 10 people. So it's first come, first serve. And we do have an Expansive Energies group for Francophones. So you'll get the translation directly in French if you are asking for that. And we're asking questions about Italian. So if there is enough interest, Loredana said that she would make herself available, but you got to ask, y'all. You got to show up and let us know what you want. All of these things that we've created is because people were like, hey, Siris. So I was wondering, could you please create blah, 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 blah. Could I please have la, 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 la? And I was like, okay, we'll do it. You know, you have to ask. I don't know if you don't tell me. Okay. Well, I do know a lot if you don't tell me, but it's way more clear and more fun for me, because then you actually tell me, oh, I'm willing to receive it. Right. Okay. And so the schedules for those, and you can also express your interest for these. The Expansive Energies group, we have the Francophones one is on Monday, and we have the Writing Retreat on Sundays. It's all kinds of hodgepodge of awesome. So the groups are increasing, and I think a lot of people are eager to connect, but they are asking for a lot of nurturing and intimacy. I don't know if that's just me. I'm liking a lot of like, can I kind of control a little bit how much input I'm getting? Because man, is there a lot that I'm aware of lately. Oh my goodness. So those are the different links for that, to express your interest in the Expansive Energies group. And the Virtual Writing Retreat, just send me a direct message with that one. Most appreciated. And you can send me the message at empoweringlightlanguage@gmail.com. Easy peasy. Any questions about that before we dive into these questions? Okay. Interrupt me at any point if you need any information. Hi, Unlocked. Oh my gosh, hi. Oh, there's more people. Okay, great. Okay, so gosh, let's start. So I'm a speech language pathologist and learning behavioral specialist. I work with a lot of children and families around the world using all of these crazy energetic tools, these different weird stuff, and then also these evidence-based strategies that I learned with my 2 master's degrees. And there was a question that was sent in. Wonderful mom. I loved working with her and her kiddo. I do more consultations every once in a while instead of like direct consistent therapy, because he has his dedicated therapist that I collaborate with. And she's asking for a question here. Okay, so my son, we're trying to get him to eat a small noodle star on a spoon with soup liquid. So he's been building up the different textures that he's interested in over time. He has some sensory-based feeding difficulties. And he's able to swallow the noodle on the spoon with the soup liquid via the straw. But as soon as the star is there without the straw, all this anxiety comes up for him quickly. So how can we get past this challenge? He says, when he's asked to do this, he says, I don't want to. So anytime anybody, a child, an adult, says, I don't want to, I don't make them. That's as easy as that. Now, what do I do instead? And this is helpful for business clients, for partners. I don't want to. For your older kids, your younger kids, whatever. No. Like, okay, you don't want to. So what's a way that we can get this done that would work for you? That's the question I ask either in my head or out loud, and I can adjust the language depending on the age of the person that I'm interacting with. So this kiddo, I know him, he's younger. So I would say, all right, what shape would be fun? what color would be fun? I'm going to change the attribute of the thing that he's resisting and work through all the different senses. It's like, is there a different color we could change this so this would be more fun? Is there a different shape? You can find noodles in so many different shapes, right? It doesn't have to be a star. So I can make it a heart, I can make it a little animal, whatever it is. So it's like, what can I change here that would make this more fun? All right, and keep me posted on how that goes, because these little pivot questions has been really grateful for your son in the past. So I suspect this will work, but if it doesn't, let me know. And it's also great for any of us when we're resisting something. And this is another question that was sent in about resistance. It's like, okay, what can I change here that would make this more fun or that would make this easier? Because I don't know about y'all, but there has been so much resistance coming up in my world. Some of it, most of it isn't mine. I'm aware of a lot of resistance in the world, but there's definitely been some things that I've been resisting myself. And this is a question I'll ask myself. I'm like, hey, so what could I change here that would make this easier? What could I change here that would make this more fun? And I go through the different senses: smell, taste, sight, sound, I mean, touch. What is, and it's like, it'd be a texture thing, and it can apply to so many different things. The question about the resistance specifically that was sent in that connects with this as well. And I love this. I love how these are all so interwoven. We're all over the world. And yet these questions, it never ceases to amaze me how we are so connected. And these questions always show up where they overlap and they have these interweaving themes. It's amazing. I love it. One of the people asked a question. So these days, my yes and my no are not clear on a lot of things. That's been the last 2 weeks for me. So I get it. I hear you loudly. And I get a lot of no that's actually resistant. So first, kudos to you. Like, pat yourself in the back, rub that apple for acknowledging and knowing the difference between a true no and what's resistance, because not all of us can get that very quickly and consistently. And so I'm going to start with that first. So how do you know when something's truly a yes, truly a no, or just resistance? Well, I actually just asked my body, especially since there's been so much resistance. I'm like, all right, I actually add in, so what's my maybe? And I see what my body does. My maybe today is like this. Okay. All right. And my body's almost as expressive as I am, almost. And then I asked my body, okay, so what is resistance to me? And literally right now, it's harder for me to breathe and talk. Resistance. Okay. Now I could easily say that that's a no. But then when I'm like, okay, body, what's my no? And I'm like, I pull down. You see, like, you guys saw that, right? I'm gonna have to send a video replay for the people who check this out later, because it was so obvious, right? Like, it was like, pulled down, like a cord pulled me down to the ground. All right. So, and then, all right, body, what's our yes today? Look at that. Woo, like traction, like pulled up, and I couldn't help but smile. Oh yeah. All right. So when you're wondering, is this a no or is this resistance? Ask, well, what's our resistance look like? What does it feel like today? And see that. Okay. And this, honestly, this is practice and practice and practice. And it's about being expanded. And I'm really expanded before any calls with you all. As soon as I'm trying to wake up, I'm like, okay, get out of bed, expand out in all directions. Just us saying it right now. Thank you for expanding and adjusting. Beautiful adjustment, everyone. And so it makes it a lot easier to get the yes, no, resistance, maybe, when you expand first. And for me, it's been harder the last 2 weeks because I've had tons of body detoxes, some pains and aches I have not had ever in my entire life. And for many of you, I used to have chronic pain, chronic illness. This is a whole new stuff that was showing up this week. And yet I recognized it was resistance. It was change. It wasn't like something permanent and chronic, which thank goodness, because I was like, no, thanks. I'm done with chronic stuff. Nope. It's not really what's going to work for me and what's true for me and my body anymore. So hopefully that helps. Really check in and actually ask, so what's the resistance, and be willing to look it in its face, like really have it directly here instead of being like, is it resistance? Is it not? Like it's just, you get thrown all over the place. Like, and I'm joking now, but I get it when you're in it, and I was in it. I was so in it. It's so not funny. So I'm trying to get you to lighten up about this and to see how ridiculous and absurd it can be sometimes, so you can get to the other side of it faster. But I get that sometimes when you're in it, it's so hard. And reach out, like message me. And you guys have been doing great. I've been getting so many messages, especially the month of August and September, from you all. Reach out. If I need to use Google Translate, I will. You don't have to even wait for the interpreter, but just know I'm here. I got your back, and I'm willing to be like, hey, so what's your resistance? Is this resistance? And when we have two of us or more, it also gets clear. It's also a lot easier. That's what I love about these expansive energies groups, and what I'm hoping to create with the Money Your Way group, and what's definitely showing up with virtual writing retreat, is that together we are holding each other accountable to have what's true for us a lot louder than all of the other bullshit. Okay, and that's what it is. It's bullshit. It's a mess. It's everyone else's. No, thank you. Okay, so thanks for that question. All right, we got 2 down, and let's see how many more we can go. Ooh, all right, we did that one. I'm gonna actually color code. I have it digitally, and I'm gonna change the color so I can know when I have gotten through those questions. Okay, okay, great question, also connected to this. How to stay always connected to consciousness? How is it possible to always stay connected to consciousness? I ask continually, how can I continually be connected with what's true for me? While recognizing that for many of us, because we're such antenna, that there's not an always possible yet. And to be okay with that. So this always, and setting yourself up for, I see that, thank you. This always expectation, what if you just had it where it's a bit more than where you have right now first, and then a bit more, and then a bit more, and then a bit more, instead of this, well, I want it always. I ask for continually when I facilitate group calls and classes, like, okay, what would it take for us to have what's true for us continually, be connected with our bodies on a continuous basis, be clear on what our yes, no, maybe, and resistance is continually. And that's this flow, though. Continually is like this. It's not rigid like always. Always locks you in. And as soon as you're not in there, you judge yourself. At least most of us do. I know I do. So I had to get rid of the word always and be willing to be like, okay, how about just more than yesterday? How about more than I've ever had before? And it's still moving me forward. Okay. So, and part of that is really getting clear on the yes, no, maybe, and resistance that we've talked about, being expanded, and also being willing to be the invitation by you choosing over and over and over again. But all right, well, I'm functioning from unconsciousness, from anti-consciousness. I know something, I'm turning my back on it. And then as soon as you pivot back, you say, oh, check out what I did. I just went back to consciousness. And by you choosing that over and over again, you invite other people around you to perceive that energy, that vibration. And then more of us can have that. And then it'll be a lot easier for all of us who are asking for it, because not everyone's willing to have it. That's a big one. That more of us who are willing to have it can have it together. But if you keep judging yourself for every time you're unaware of something, or you've turned your back and shut something down, some information down, you're not actually right there. In that very moment, you're going against consciousness. Okay. So, oh, I'm pivoting. Oh, and then just keep choosing it over and over and over again. Even all of us, you know, whatever people you admire in the world, they all have those off days. They all have those moments where they get in the funk. And I often realize that as soon as I'm in an upheaval, or I'm really like crunchy again, I'm like, wow, how much have I just changed? Oh, I did. That's a whole lot of change showing up. Okay. And you see again, I stressed out. You guys noticed it? I see y'all like, oh, what happened to her body then? That was my yes. That was my yes, being like, let's do it. That's right. Lean into that change. And so then the resistance goes, and then I get to actually have more of what the consciousness that shows up for me, because it's going to be different for me than for you and for you and for you and for you. Everybody's different. Okay. Great question. But yeah, get rid of the always. Get rid of the always. All right. Love the vulnerability of this next question. Before I read this out loud, and for you guys who are already futurists and perceiving this, expand and breathe even more the energy of this question. Yeah. All right. Some of you are already doing that and adjusting. I love it. And let's actually play with, for those of you who are the living and dying ambassadors that are here on live, go ahead and start running the living and dying body process, please, while I read this question. And it's going to contribute to all of us. For those of you who have been in our tasters and have played around with some of the hand movements, feel free to go ahead and play around with it now, whatever you recall. And anyone who's just like tapped in and wanted to play with this, we're going to go ahead and activate the energies of the living and dying body process so we can have more ease with where we're aware of bodies who are killing themselves, where we are aware of people who are truly willing to live, where we are aware of death energies, and those who are debating, hey, do I really want to be here? Do I really want to be living in this house, in this apartment? Do I really want to be on this planet? Do I really want to be in this reality? Is this what I signed up for? I'm not sure this is what I signed up for. All right, so this question here. So I suffered sexual abuse when I was a child. It is a secret that weighs down on me. And even if I told my parents about it as an adult, I'm guessing it's even when I told my parents about it, I was not accompanied. I was not heard. I feel like I'm in survival mode all the time. So first, again, thank you for sending in the question and just the information about that. I'm getting that you're probably asking for how to get out of this survival mode. And what's interesting about this question is you don't have to have experienced abuse or even this particular type of abuse for this to be relevant to you. There's a lot of us who are on adrenaline overload, go, 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 even when from the outside, we look very calm. We look very like, and yet inside, it's like, how many of you is that relevant to? Okay. And then on top of that, for some of us, and you don't have to believe in past lives, but for those of you that do, there are many of us who have experienced abuse of all different kinds in the past, or who were the abusers in the past. So it can bring up this in our worlds. Money abuse, spiritual abuse, physical, sexual, you name it, verbal, emotional, okay? So this question, how do we get out of survival mode? First and foremost is actually looking at what's the thing, and this person's identified it in one way, but for each of us, because I'm going to address it really broadly and then go back to the more specific question, what is the thing that is bringing up this survival mode in us? Is it an awareness of other people's survival mode? Is the survival mode vibration even yours? How much of it is in yours? Okay. For the other step I would recommend is to be doing the activities and being around the people that are nurturing to your body. That, for many of us, is a tall order. Some of you, because you're really invested in being around really abusive, horrible, toxic people. Some of you, because you're isolated from the very people that you would like to be connected with. There's a lot of different factors in this. But there are also ways of outcreating the separation and the anxiety. I'm working with people in India who are super locked down, and they maybe are the only person inside their home, inside their buildings, and yet they still can connect. So this getting away from this lie of separation is super essential for this. What would be nurturing to your body, and who would be nurturing to your body? And then are you willing to actually acknowledge the people who aren't and choose something different? For the person that sent me this question, and I don't know you very well, this is a new contact, so thank you again for sending me this question. I'm curious what people you're choosing and what you're choosing that's continuing to repeat abuse, even in subtle, sneaky ways. I'm a survivor of abuse. Many of us here are, even if we don't acknowledge it. It could be this world, this reality's abuse of us. That's already plenty. All of us have that in some way. And one of the things that helped me get past it is to start detoxing all of those people that were taking me for granted, that was all one way, and acknowledging that I was creating that too. I was creating that dance with those people. Changing my patterns. But I had to recognize the patterns first. I needed to be needed. I was around a lot of people that were saying lies, and I was being like, I'll believe everything they say because I'm really honest. So of course they're really honest, right? Okay, all these different ways. So that's where I would start. And then if for the person that sent this in and anybody else, if you're in adrenaline overload, use whatever tool, whatever modality, everything you've got that you already know has brought peace and calm to you and your body and with your body, and prioritize it. Like literally, many of you guys know, I've mentioned this in other calls, I put my self-care in my calendar. I literally have it color coded, and I have it like, it's yellow. So it's like bright sunshine. And I was like, is there enough yellow in my week this week? No? Well, let me add it in. And it could be 15 minutes a day. It could be 30 minutes a day, whatever, but it's like at least a little bit every day. And if I can have more, great. And the more you prioritize your self-care, the less you vibrate and shake and propel yourself out of your body. It's a lot harder to thrive and create the life you'd really like if you're not in your body, with your body, and having those conversations with your body to create something different. Okay. So thank you for that question. Everything that brought up, let's go ahead and let all that melt, please, and let it go. Thank you, everybody who contributed to that. All right, and breathe, everyone. Okay. The question in the chat. Okay, so I got some medical expertise on September 29th, and I'm very anxious. Is it possible to ask me for a little help to have some good waves for this and for very important expertise for me? Okay, yeah, so for everybody, I was actually going to have all of us play. We have a couple minutes left before we have to part ways today. So let's actually put in the chat, everybody, put everything you want to ask for. I'm not going to read it all out loud. Put in the chat anything you'd like to get from this next couple of months. Maybe anything that something that you've never asked for before, something that is already showing up, you'd like more of it, all of that. Put it in the chat right now. And yes, we will totally give you some good waves, good vibes for you to have more clarity about this information that you're getting. And also, I'm going to ask for all of us to be way more clear and connected with our bodies together. Okay. All right. Get really clear on what's the rhythm that will work for our bodies. I love doing things seasonally because there is a different rhythm. There is a different rhythm with each season, and sometimes we get so locked into a certain thing that we don't realize how in tune we are to the changes in the earth and how we're in tune we are with these changes in rhythm that the earth is asking for. So at minimum, I check in seasonally about my life, and okay, do I need to clean out my house? The whole spring cleaning, I do it seasonally. And that's with every aspect, not just the physical things I can see. Okay, who are the people in my life, again, we talked about, that are nurturing and kind, and who are not? Who are those people that are expanding my world and allowing me and facilitating me to be more myself, what's true for me? And who are the ones that I feel less myself after I'm hanging out with them, or I'm in their presence? Yeah. Ooh. All right, and let's go ahead and let all of that melt. So I'm going to run some of the living and dying body process and whatever other energies will contribute to your bodies today. Thank you for adding that in, the request in the chat. Thank you. So for some of us, we feel like we've gone through a battle. For some of us, we're still in it. We feel like we're still in the war. One of my team members were talking about that. We were talking about it even yesterday. And it's like, what can we create together where we know that we have each other's backs, that we're not alone? Where can we recommit to living? So some of us, the last couple weeks, couple months, year and change, 2 years, maybe more. Okay. I'm just palpating the energy a little bit. Have broken our hearts. What if we could actually not just mend our hearts where those scars are still there, but bring the pieces of us that we've sent off in all these different places that we've forgotten about? What if we can bring them all together and integrate it again? So as if the broken heart moments just never even happened. And it's not a dishonoring of the people that we've lost. There's been a lot of people. And I'm going to acknowledge all the messages I've gotten in the last couple of weeks from people being like, thank you for offering the sessions for the living and dying body process. I don't even know if I can receive that right now because this person just passed away, or this just happened, or this is this thing going on with my body, or my child just got diagnosed with this rare condition, all these different messages. And I get it, and that's okay. And yet, in those moments of disappointment, are our hearts breaking a little bit? And what if you could actually hold your heart and start gathering all those pieces and just give it a hug? You don't have to sew it. Just bring it back. Your loved ones that have transitioned, those big changes that have felt like the world was shaken up. Remember we talked about shaken up, upside down, right side up, that you're like, what in the world? How did this even happen? It doesn't have to affect how you function and how you know what's true for you. It doesn't have to make it less shiny and bright, your life. There's a question in the chat, what would make my life worth living? A lot of people are asking that. Just like is this really what I signed up for? All right, now we're gonna do something weird and crazy. Some of you guys have done this with me before. We're gonna blow this out of the water. Everybody together, go ahead and unmute yourself. I don't care if you have background noise, if there's babies crying, whatever. Yep, go ahead and unmute yourself, and we're gonna go ahead and laugh together. We're gonna laugh at all of the broken pieces. We're gonna laugh at all of the loss. We're gonna laugh at the disappointment and frustration. If you wanna throw in some screaming laughter in there, I don't care. I'm willing to receive any kind of laughter that you are willing to have with your body. Let's shake it up. You ready? All right. Some of y'all are still muted. You don't have to have your video on, but I want to hear your beautiful voices. And let's invite everyone that's asking to be truly committed to life and to have a life that's worth living in a completely different way, because we can't have it the way we were planning before. Everything's changed. So I'm not going to keep pining for what was. Fuck this going back to normal shit. That's not going to work. Okay. And let's do it. 3, 2, 1.
Oh la la.
Try not to laugh. I dare you. Don't do it. You see? Okay. All right. And even now, let's go. Woo. All right. Now ask your body, what's my yes? And body, what's my no? And body, what's my maybe? And body, what's resistance? Notice the difference. Isn't that interesting how it's a little bit clearer to get that when your laughter, even if it's pretend laughter, you don't even feel like it. Like, I'll laugh when I'm pissed. When I want to throw things and break things, I will laugh at the anger, and it just makes it burst out instead of locking in my body and killing my body, because I recognize it's actually killing the cells in my body when I'm doing that. But I choose something different, and then I can have the clarity again. So this gets back to some of the other questions that were sent in earlier. Okay. How was that? How are your bodies now? And that was just a little bit. Oh, all right. What would it take to like life? Yeah. Okay, the space. All right, some people are relaxed. Beautiful. And that's the thing. Remember, we talked about earlier, when you're relaxed, when you're clear, you can have what you're asking for easier. You know what's possible easier. You were like, are we going to end on that heavy note? Fuck that shit. No, we're not ending on the heavy note. We got to acknowledge and collect all of it. And then we burst it out of our realities, out of our bodies, even more effectively together, because we were willing to choose it together. I love it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, so those are as many questions as I could get through today. If you have any questions about any of the announcements or anything else that we talked about, especially everyone who's checking this out as a replay, just message me, just click reply and message me back. If you have any questions about the living and dying body process or how you can get a session of it, let me know. And share it with your friends. I'd like as many people as possible that would like to have more of this joy relaxation space that y'all are talking about in the chat around the world, because then we can all benefit from that even greater. So hope to see y'all soon. Stay in touch. Keep nurturing your bodies. Prioritize the self-care. And right back at you. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.